Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Brother Sister Show, a family owned and operated podcast where two siblings keep in touch by talking about movies. This week, we're talking about Anthony's pick, Unsane. Or are we?
We'll talk about it.
But before we get into that, howdy, Anthony. How are you? Please tell us what you
Hello.
did. Tell us what you did.
I did a dumb, okay? Yesterday, we normally try to record on Sundays. That's our, day.
Yeah. It's pretty
And-
sporadic, but I think Sundays have been good for us.
Yeah, we've been steadily for the past couple of weeks recording on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
But we aimed for 5 o'clock, and I was like, all right, I'll just start watching the movie at 3. And I watched the wrong movie. I watched a completely wrong movie. I brought up the podcast notes because we have a Google Doc with all of the notes Livia takes. And I looked and it said Unsane, and I was like, holy shit, I watched the wrong movie.
God, I wish I could have seen just your reaction.
Kayla was in the room with me, and I was like, I just watched the wrong movie, Kayla. And she was like, what? I changed.
Sorry, go on.
Because originally I was going to pick Overlord.
Mm-hmm. That was off the podcast, right? Or you didn't?
Yeah, that was I was like, I changed mid-podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had it in my mind. I didn't even look. Normally I look just to confirm, or I listen to the end of the episode just to confirm. But I was just too confident, and that's what let me down. It was terrible. I feel so bad.
I mean, it was fine.
So I just watched the movie. I just watched it to watch it. So nothing else has happened in my life. So I watched it, Overlord. There's this one line in that movie. I don't know what it is. It's do you know the premise of it?
No. I know it's Nazis or something.
Yeah, it's on D-Day, and a group of American soldiers are trying to infiltrate a lab or a church, whatever, but they see some zombie type stuff where Nazis are doing some Nazi stuff with their science and experiments.
Mm-hmm.
But there's this one line where one of the Nazi generals asks one of the, I'm not going to spoil it, but asks one of the American soldiers a questions, and the response is something to the effect of, I don't feel very good at all. And I had to stop for a second. I was like, wow, this is bad. And I was genuinely excited to talk about it on the podcast, but we'll talk about it some other time.
Probably not. I'm not going to pick it.
I'm not, because no, probably not.
That's so funny. I just want to know the feeling you had of seeing that and just your stomach dropping and being like, fuck. Because, well, you didn't even set this, the scene. Well, you kind of did. But basically, I was I think I texted you, or you said that you're almost ready. And I was like, okay. No, this was 5 o'clock when we were supposed to record. And then you called me and you were like, oh my God. So it's not like it was, Sunday morning you could correct it.
Mm-hmm. It was minutes before we were going to record. I had just finished the movie. And I timed it perfectly, so it would be around the time that we were going to record.
Have you learned your lesson?
Probably not. I feel like it's going to happen, but
I know, but why do you watch them so close to recording?
I like them to be fresh on my mind.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't take any notes.
Mm.
So I just like them being fresh on the show, or no, not the show. I like the movie being fresh on my mind, so I try to watch it as close as possible. But honestly, I considered not even telling you and just being pretending to watch the movie.
Oh, that
just
been
reading
so
the synopsis
funny.
real fast, but that would have been bad. So
I wonder how long you could have. I guess we'll get into it, but I wonder how long you could have held up that ruse.
I think I could have done it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to talk shit, but I do most of the movie talking. I do ask you questions though. I have made a note where I'm because I listened to most of the episodes and I'm like, I feel bad that I'm mainly the one talking.
Nah.
But so I'm trying to formulate questions. And this time too, it's funny. I think I had somewhere I was like, okay, this time when we're talking about this, I'll like think of a question to ask him. So that would have been funny to like have both of those things play at once for like, you're like, oh, well, she talks the whole time anyway, so I don't even have to do anything. And then I'm like, you know what? I need to involve Anthony at the same time.
Well, I watched it. I did watch it.
All right.
I'm glad I did.
That's all. Oh, well, you don't have anything else that you've watched that you want to talk about?
I have 3 other things. Lovecraft Country.
How is it? Do you understand it?
I do. It's all coming together. I actually really like this episode. This episode kind of put a lot of things together, especially from the first episode. Like, if you guys have seen it, the opening scene is like, what the hell is happening?
Mm-hmm.
But I really liked it. I really like this episode a lot, and I honestly want to go back and rewatch the first episode because I feel like I'll just gain a whole new appreciation for it. If you watch it, I'd love to talk about it because it was actually really, really cool. Because this episode, I don't know if it's a spoiler. I won't get into it, but it's a good one. And so that, and then there's 2 other movies. Hubie Halloween.
I actually kind of watched it. Like I had it on the background when I had to do some just like extra work this weekend, and it was on the background. So I don't really know much of what happened, but
I watched it and I still don't know what happened.
Why does Adam Sandler do that voice?
That's what Kayla said as when we put it on. She's like, why does he love playing this character?
Yeah, it's very strange.
I don't know. I like Adam Sandler. There's this one part that I liked was like there's like 2 running gags in that movie where he's riding a bike and just people keep on throwing stuff at him and he has to dodge it. I don't know why I like that bit a lot. And his like Swiss Army thermos where he had like a screwdriver in his thermos, like a vacuum. He had like a bunch of stuff in that little thermos. I thought was pretty funny. But it was a movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw people talking about it, and I think I talked to Mom like really briefly about it, where she was like, "It's basically his other movies."
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. The voice just really got to me. I did like at the very beginning. I should have asked Mom and Dad. I think I'm probably dumb, and everybody's like, "Of course, that's what that is." But I think at the beginning, whenever they were showing like somebody breaking out of the whatever facility that was, like a jail, I don't know what the hell it was. Like Ben Stiller was in it, and I think isn't that the same character he did in was it not Happy Gilmore? Yeah, Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
That's the same guy, right? Okay, I thought that was funny.
Yeah,
because I understood that reference, but I didn't know if I was dumb, and I was like, "Ooh," and everybody was like, "Yeah, of course." But nobody's talking about that though. I don't know if that's like not a big deal.
I don't know. I guess
there's like certain people that you expect when you watch an Adam Sandler movie, and I don't think I would expect Ben Stiller to be in it. So I thought that was kind of fun.
There's another cameo in it, and that cameo is my favorite part of that movie. It's so funny. There's this one like 3 seconds that I couldn't stop laughing.
What cameo?
I don't want to spoil it.
I watched the same movie as you.
Really?
I told you I watched it.
It's Shaq.
Oh, yeah.
When Shaq is in it, yeah. That part.
I like his the girl that plays his wife. God,
yeah.
What is her name? She's a really funny comedian. I love her. You need to watch. I'll send you this one. I guess everybody could watch it. I think it's called like the Earliest Show, the thing that Ben Schwartz and Lauren Lapkus did. There's an episode that she's in it. She's like one of the segment people where she's like doing a workout with them, and it's so funny. That whole series is really funny, but yeah, I forgot about that. Shaq was.
Yeah, that's a really
I don't
fun.
think I watched that movie. I can't claim it because I don't remember anything. I just remember that guy, this is a very specific thing for a specific person, but I knew I didn't like the movie when I saw like one of the bad guys was the guy from a movie that mom likes. Goodfellas, I think. And he just looks like a villain. I hate he I just that actor, I cannot watch anything he's in.
What guy?
God, what the fuck is his name?
What in the movie? What character is he?
I don't know. I just remember his dad died and they were at his funeral.
Oh,
Ray Liotta.
he's the Rock in, or not the Rock, but
The Rock.
the,
That is Dwayne Johnson.
he's Dwayne Johnson in the Fantastic Four.
No. I'm talking about somebody else. That's the priest. I'm talking about the son. It's Ray Liotta. I hate him.
Ray. I need to see a picture.
I don't hate him. I just, ugh. It just reminds me of that movie, and mom used to watch it all the fucking time.
Oh, he's like.
And he played like a creepy guy. Like I do remember the one part. I can't believe we're talking this much about this movie, but there was a part where he was like at some party and he was like flirting with one of the girls there, and I think they're supposed to be in high school, and it just was really weird.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of this movie that was a little weird. Yeah, he looks like. Yeah, I don't like his face.
I don't know. I think it just reminds me. I don't want to like. I don't know. It just reminds me of that movie, and mom used to always watch that fucking movie, and I hate that movie.
Well, a good movie that I saw was The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Ooh.
It was recommended to me by David, and it was creepy as hell.
Have I not told you about it?
Maybe, but
you never watch the shit I tell you to watch.
Yeah, but you never watch the stuff that I tell you to watch.
True.
I hate like when people cut into skulls, like when they rip skin off, because I feel like it's happening to me.
Oh.
And this movie is like it's you go through an autopsy, so it's just like I just was like super. I guess cringe is the word. I don't know. I just felt like it was happening to me. But it was pretty good. I like the
specific thing that I really like from that movie. Just real quick is the use of those mirrors that people have on like the corners of hallways so that you can see if somebody else is coming.
Yeah,
a great use of that. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, very very good. That's all I got. Good movie. I'd recommend watching it. It's a spooky movie.
I think it's on.
It's on Netflix, I think.
Okay, maybe it'll be my movie for today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I have a list that I just randomly pick from, but I do really like that movie. I haven't seen it in a while. Yeah.
Well.
Oh,
spoilers, maybe.
Before we move on to my watches, we haven't revisited. Like, I feel like we talked about our apartments a lot, and we haven't talked about like an update or anything. Is y'all's the same? Like, have you added anything?
The only thing I think I talked about the patio. We kind of add some tile, and had a mini. We had some like flowers. I don't think anything else has changed. We got groceries this past weekend.
I've noticed that you're learning to cook, and I will say I'm going to kind of expose you. Whenever me and you lived under the same roof, I had to teach you how to make eggs. So to see you send us stuff that you make is nice to see that you're becoming an adult.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good foundation, so I will thank you for that, because the eggs, that goes a long
eggs,
way.
By the way, it's not even just like a hard way to cook eggs. It's just scrambled. You didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, and then watching you make a peanut butter sandwich is like the saddest thing. Saddest and scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. That was like watching an autopsy. Like a butchered autopsy.
I have upgraded to Uncrustables. I got some Uncrustables.
Have you seen the taco ones that people are talking about on like TikTok?
Oh, it looks disgusting.
Ugh,
I don't even want to talk about it. That makes me.
sacrilegious.
Yeah, I mean, I've been cooking more. I mainly wash the dishes and like clean up because I'm the one here all the time. I never leave. Oh, I tested negative for COVID. That happened.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. That's what happens when you don't go anywhere.
They say when you're an Aggie.
When you're an ag. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, and Kayla and I are joining a intramural kickball league, which might be a cult. Who knows? We'll see. First game's Wednesday. Masks everywhere, so it'll be cool.
That's fun.
Just to get out once a week, you know.
They're still doing that? Or like, well, so intramural, like, is it in your apartment complex or just you just signed up for a random one?
No, you sign up through the school. It's like only students, and it's outdoors. It's at like a soccer field or a bunch of soccer fields, and
Do you have a name for your team?
Kicks and Giggles. Yeah.
I had a trivia team one time and we were called the Red Hot Trivia Peppers, I think.
Do you want me to cut that out? Or
I thought you would appreciate it, you bitch. I thought you liked the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, that's good.
You're like the only teenage, or you're not teenage.
What do you want from me?
How old are you? You're the only 20-year-old in America that likes the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Bro, I'll gladly wear that title. Like a badge of honor.
Alrighty. Well,
what's with your apartment?
Oh, I hung up a lot of stuff. I think I was waiting to hang up stuff in my little office area and then stuff. I collect a lot of thrift store art and I was just waiting to hang it up, but I don't know why. So I just hung up everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm good at hanging things up though, especially with frames, because I don't really care if it's level. I mean, I care if it's level. I'm not going to use like an actual leveling thing, but
oh my goodness,
sometimes my stuff is crooked and then I also don't really measure it out. I kind of eyeball it. So I don't know if it looks good, but I like it. And I'm excited to get more art. Now I feel like I wanted to go get more stuff to hang up, but I was like, no, I need to hang up the stuff I currently have. And it feels nice now that I can like get more stuff to add to my walls. And then I hung up my degree, so I feel accomplished. I'm reminded, you know, that I did it. I don't know. I don't even know why I have it like in my apartment. Who's gonna come and see it? But I guess it's nice to have. But one thing I did do, I got a new record player for my birthday. And I have it on top of these like IKEA cubicle shelves. You know which one I'm talking about? That's like a square. But I realized, I thought it was a shadow this whole time, but I realized because it was in my sunroom at my old apartment, it started to yellow.
What the?
And so I was like, fuck, like I don't want to get a new thing. I do want to get something else, but I don't want to get it now. I want to have like this one and I want it to be presentable. So I didn't know what to do, but I remembered I had washi tape. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, kind of. It's like
decorative tape. I think it has like a certain texture to it. Maybe that's why it's called that. I don't know. But I was like, oh, I wonder if I just do it from the front, if I just cover it. And I did, and I think it looks okay. From the side, it kind of looks janky, but from like the front, I like it. And I think I'm going to use the washi tape for like more stuff because I have an entire wall in my bedroom that has nothing on it. And I don't really want to like, I have 3 places where I'm hanging up just like a collage of art. I think people call it like a gallery wall. And so I'm trying to figure out, maybe I can send her pictures of mine and she'll appreciate them because I'm really proud of them so far. But I have an entire wall that I don't really know what to do with. But I saw people sometimes they use washi tape to kind of make like a fake wallpaper effect thing, like a bunch of like X's or a bunch of like lines to make it look decorative. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cause
You should look at mom's. I mean, mom has one like on the like this the wall that shares that's
I know, no,
with the stairs.
but I'm saying for this wall specifically, I don't want to do that.
Oh, okay.
Because it's such a big wall that I don't know yet. I just feel like that's too many gallery walls to have within one apartment because I currently have 3 going right now. So I'm just saying,
Gotcha.
like, I have a huge wall that I don't know what to do with. So if anybody has any like tips or any ideas or something that they did, I don't really want to use. A lot of people keep telling me to use wallpaper, like the ones that you can take off, but you can like cut off. So, but I read somewhere that because my wall is textured, that it could like if when I peel it off when I move, that it could take some of the paint with it.
Yeah, my
And because it's textured, whenever I try to put it on, then it's impossible to get rid of air bubbles. So I
yeah.
don't want to do wallpaper, but I do want something decorative, but I don't want it to be like an entire gallery wall because it's such a big wall. But I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, okay, let's move on to stuff I've watched. So I also have 3 things. The first one is a show on Netflix that keeps getting recommended to me. So I was like, fine, I'll fucking watch it. And it's a show called Away. Have you seen it? I'm sure it's like an astronaut show, and the person on the poster is Hilary Swank. So I'm sure you've seen it if you've been on Netflix in the past like month.
No.
No?
Wait, maybe. Sounds
It's
familiar, actually.
it's I don't know. It's kind of like it felt like a what's the word? Like a not a novella. I guess a novella. But what is soap opera? It felt kind of like a really like not as dramatic soap opera in space. You know, it was just like a drama, but nobody was
Uh,
talking about the fact that they were going to space. I don't know. It was weird. I don't know if I liked it, but it just also made me question the shit that Netflix is putting their money into because they, at the same breath of like them having this show, where I was like, I could have, like, I don't know why they made this show. And then they canceled Glow. I was like, well, that
yeah.
was good. Why would you cancel that? And you already told them you're going to make a 4th season. And then you just reverse that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Give the money. Like, this show, because it's set in space, it's like half in space and then half in like Houston. That's so much money. And the show was not worth it. Like, I don't even remember what happened. Like, it instantly left my brain. But that's my little rant for the day. And then I watched a movie on Shudder because I'm trying to make the most out of my subscription because it's ending in like 4 days.
Right.
So I watched a movie called Scare Me. Have you heard of that one? It's
No,
new.
did it scare you though?
No, well, kind of. It's very good. It's kind of like I don't. It's kind of hard to describe. I mean, it's super funny because the director. I think you would know who the director is. The director's Josh Rubin.
Oh
He
yeah.
was on College Humor stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he wrote and directed it, I think, and he's also in it, and he's really funny in it. Um, and it's unlike. I wish you had Shudder so you could watch it too, because it's unlike any. It's unlike any scary movie I've seen recently.
Oh.
I really liked it, and he was on a podcast I talk about all the time because my friend hosts it, but He's Right Behind You. They did a episode with him, and he was like talking. The first half, he's talking about the movie, and just the way he talked about it, how passionate he was about scary movies. I think you would appreciate too. He was saying he was giving like kind of some insight into how he decided to make a scary movie because he's a comedian, so it kind of you wouldn't think that would be it, but he was just saying how like it's smart to do it that way because the way he did it, it was a lot of like he does impressions, so it's a lot of voice and like audio stuff so that
Right.
you don't have to spend a lot of money on special effects, and it's just easier to market a scary movie too, so you're more than likely gonna get the budget for it because studios know that they can sell it.
Mm-hmm.
and it just felt really smart. And
That's
just
cool.
the way he talked about like the inspiration behind it was really cool. So yeah, listen to their podcast and then watch the movie because it was pretty good. And then another scary movie that I remembered that I watched a long time ago and I wanted Sebastian to watch it is one called Atrocious. The thing is, when I first watched it, so it's in Spanish, and when I first watched it, I had subtitles. The second time, I found it on YouTube for free, but the caveat was that it didn't have subtitles this time. But Sebastian does know Spanish, and I have seen it before, so I was like, we can do this.
We can make
And
it
I
work.
do, well, and the thing too is, I know a lot more Spanish than I think I do. So, and it also helped that I just knew what was going to happen. But yeah, if you don't mind watching a movie in Spanish, then it's very good. I think it's pretty scary. And it held up because I watched it like a long time ago. But yeah.
Nice.
So that's what I've been watching. I don't have any movie news. I guess Glow was the movie news, but that's not a movie. But
Gal Gadot got cast as
oh my
Cleopatra.
god, I'm tired.
I'm tired.
Generally, like
That's all I saw.
and then I saw so Patty Jenkins is the director. She's like directing it.
Yeah.
And she's the woman who did Wonder Woman. So it's like makes sense that she would cast Gal Gadot in that sense, I guess. But like the thing that confused me, and I guess we can end this segment on this unless you have something to say about it, but like she had a quote about basically saying how like movie theaters are done after this, which I don't think is true. But either way, she was like, it's kind of dramatic, like movie theaters are done. They're never going to come back. And then somebody tweeted like, well, then why are you making a movie nobody's asking for? Like, you're not saving movies by doing this. And that's how I feel. I mean, I don't know who's asked for a Cleopatra movie right now, or to have Gal Gadot as the lead.
Maybe
She's
it's just
not
going to be
Egyptian,
like
is she?
No, she's Israeli.
Oh, so they just subbed. Like, well, we can't get an Egyptian. Let's just put somebody else.
I guess. I don't know.
Close enough.
That's just the only thing I remember seeing on Twitter.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm sure there's other stuff, but like movie theaters are dead after this, so
What does it matter? Batman's pushed back 2022. The world is ending.
But like, of course, I will still. I feel like I say this every single time. Of course they are. Like, why are people acting so surprised?
And with that, let's take a quick break. We'll see you guys after this.
A young woman is involuntarily committed to a mental institution where she is confronted by her greatest fear. But is it real or a product of her delusion? Unsane is directed by Steven Soderbergh, written by Jonathan Bernstein and James Greer, starring Claire Foy, Joshua Leonard, and Jay Farrow.
As for the monies, its estimated budget was $1.5 million. Opening weekend, it made about $3.8 million. US, it grossed about $7.7 million, and worldwide, it grossed about $14.3 million. So
14.3.
I almost did that.
Yeah, it's not easy, is it, fucker?
Critics gave it a 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb, but that doesn't matter. It got an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 63% on Metacritic. So it looks like Metacritic also doesn't matter.
I don't know. I mean, I guess we can get into it later, but I feel like I lean more towards Metacritic. I don't know if I liked it, but I didn't hate it.
Well, I like it because, as we said last time.
Are you talking about Overlord or Unsane?
Unsane because it was filmed entirely on the iPhone 7 Plus in 4K using the app Filmic Pro, which I think it costs money, the app, which I get. And there's a lot you can do. I remember looking into it when I watched Tangerine, another one of Soderbergh's movies that
It's not a
were filmed.
Soderbergh.
Is it not?
I don't think so. I think it's the same guy that did the Florida Project.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm so sorry, Sean
Even
Baker.
Soderbergh did he did another one, but it came after this one called High Flying Bird.
High Flying Bird, yes.
That one was with an iPhone. I don't know if it's an iPhone 7 still, but still it's an iPhone.
You're right. I was thinking of Sean Baker.
Yeah, he did Tangerine and then Florida Project.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. Ready to get into it?
Let's go.
Okay. So we have a weird opening where we open, it's like we're moving through a forest. Not like we're walking. It's kind of like a steady. This movie has a big theme of like using a dolly with really steady movements, which I kind of liked, because I wonder if the decision for that was because if you move, like if you have the like handheld kind of effect, if it looks very much like you're shooting it on an iPhone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the opening shots, like I kind of got that it was someone watching this lady.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah. But do you see what I mean, though? Like, I just wonder, I didn't hate it. I'm just wondering the technique of it. Like, if they tried with like a handheld kind of effect, but it looked like the motion smoothing was not as good.
Oh, probably.
Because they do a lot of like steady movements. They don't do a lot of handheld stuff.
Yeah, technically it probably made more sense.
I just wonder. I mean, I've never tried to shoot really anything, but I've never tried to shoot something. Like if I do, it is with my iPhone, and I've never tried something else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyways. So like I said, we're moving through a forest, and the lens is tinted in a shade of blue. And there's some voiceover from some guy just talking about how he's first meeting somebody. And he's describing how they wore blue and that they changed his life. I didn't put the exact dialogue, but that's basically what he said. And I put a note that it kind of sounded like wedding vows. Like, or like not wedding vows, but like specifically when you have like a rehearsal dinner and the groom gives a speech about how they met the person they're marrying. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Creepy.
Creepy in this context, but if you were to listen to it outside of that, like outside of knowing that this is a scary movie, then it's not as creepy, which makes it a little bit creepier. All right. And then after this is when we meet our main character, Sawyer, at her job. The first thing I love about this movie is the names.
Sawyer's a
great name. And she's like on a phone call, and it seems that she's just like not having her client shit. It is very funny. I really like that call. And then she freaks out. So I think after the call, she's like talking to her coworkers, and she sees the glimpse of some guy, like I think the back of his head. And she freaks out, but she doesn't really say what's going on. She just walks out of her office. And then we cut to her being in her boss's office, and I'm very confused. Even right now, I'm kind of confused about this scene because I don't really remember what they were talking about, but I did make a note that he was really creepy, where he's saying like, I think she was talking about like having different opportunities. And he said, maybe you should travel with me to some conference. Was that it? But he kind of like inferred something creepier.
Yeah, because it was just going to be them two. He was like, well, you can go with me. She's like, well, I should probably get more experience. And he said something like, well, I can give you plenty of experience. Or something like creepy to that effect.
Yeah, it was, I kind of still don't understand the point of that scene. Like maybe if we're going to flash forward to the beginning and the fact that we learn she gets promoted, like is it kind of setting up how the end happens, that she is not putting up with creepy men anymore? Is that the point? Like I just don't really understand the point of putting a woman in an uncomfortable situation like that. You know,
Yeah,
it
I
just
think
felt
it.
overindulgent because especially what the rest of the movie's about.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
maybe that's just me. But I kind of part of me does kind of like now that I'm I guess dissecting it, I like that it has obviously a huge um example of what how badly something creepy like that can go, and so maybe they wanted to show a little instance of that a lot of women have probably gone through, where just like a creepy comment somebody said versus a full-on stalker. um but yeah, I don't know, I kind of I would have understood that scene a little bit more. And like you said, after this, I start to notice a lot of like peeping Tom kind of shots, like you were talking about.
Yeah, like in the bushes, like watching this lady as she takes her lunch break, where she calls her mom, and you learn that she's, um, like you wrote here, it sets up the stage really nicely because, I mean, a lot of the movies that we've been watching do this really well, where they tell you what's happening without spilling it in your face. You learn that she's moving into a new place and she's super far from her mom, and you don't really know why she moves, but you can kind of tell that it was from a stalker.
Yeah, I mean, I think from from this part we don't really know exactly what it is, but um yeah, they do set the stage to where you're not as surprised, especially because of the shots. And I do like how it's kind of like a like they subliminally or subtly kind of tell you what the movie's going to be about.
Yeah, and I love that. I love the technicality in it and how they, it's just all in the camera movements and just the way the shots are composed. It tells you
Exactly.
so much.
And then after this, she goes on a blind date and she tells him that she's not interested in seeing him after the night is over. So I really like her bluntness. And I forget, I should have wrote this down, but I recognize that actor from something, but I can't remember I can't remember what he looks like now.
I did too. I'll look it up while you
Okay.
talk about the next thing.
So after this, she tells him like her intentions, and she takes him back to her place. And I really like this moment where she's like they're making out, and she pulls away and she freaks out. And this is when I was typing, and I couldn't remember because I've seen this before, and I couldn't remember if she saw a flash of the guy that will learn later is the stalker. But when I looked back, nothing happened, like it was still the same guy. And so they kind of also set the stage for us to question her sanity, which I
Yeah.
really liked, because if they would have, I feel like it would have been less effective if we would have cut, like if they would have cut and had the stalker, I think his name is like David or something,
David, yes.
David, in the place of the guy that she's making out with, if that would have like changed our opinion on her. Because I think right now we're like, oh, she's obviously something happened to her and she's still getting over it. Um,
Yeah, she's seeing
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, which happens. I mean, it's kind of like I've never had that specific instance, but when you like look in a room, it's kind of like the whole like hereditary effect where you look into like a dark room and you start to see things. That's like the thing that I experience, but I've never had something like this. But I can imagine when you go
Mm-hmm.
through something traumatic like that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Did you find out who it is?
Yeah, he is in Unfriended, Dark Web,
Oh,
and The
yes.
Purge,
Yes.
and
I
The
saw
Call of the Wild.
I've seen him in Unfriended.
Yeah, Unfriended. Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
I don't think I've seen all of it. I think I've seen parts of it, but
It's not good, but it's a good like movie night movie.
yeah, I can imagine.
All right. After this is when they do that thing that we keep talking about where we finally find out that it was a stalker she's dealing with. Oh, because at this moment she goes to the restroom and the guy just fucking leaves. And so she looks up stuff about like I forgot exactly what it was, but she basically looks up um I think support groups or something for people that have been
Support
stalked.
groups. Yeah.
And I have some I did kind of not really a deep dive, but I wanted to talk a little bit about real life stalking since this movie is just basically about that. And I have some statistics. So stalking is there's three things about stalking that I found out. The first thing is that stalking is common. About 1 in 6 women and 1 in 17 men have experienced stalking in their lifetimes. Stalking starts early. Nearly 54% of female victims and 41% of male victims experience stalking before the age of 25, which is insane. And
Wow.
stalking impacts the physical and mental health of the victims. Research shows stalking can lead to depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. About 68% of female and 70% of male victims experience threats of physical harm during their lifetime.
That's ridiculous. That's so sad.
I know that's the scariest thing. I mean, there's tons of things that are terrifying about this movie, but the two I can think of is the fact that the like stalking is very much real and happens all the time. And also I'll get into it with a real story, but involuntarily being like admitted to a mental ward or I don't know what you call them now, but I guess a psych ward. I don't know if that's like not a
Institution?
good term. Yeah, get people involuntarily getting admitted to those kind of institutions. That is a very real thing as well.
You know, I was going to talk about this later, and it's like kind of the big point of this movie, but or at least what I got from it, but I'll just bring it up now. And that I think that's the scariest thing about this movie is that it's not only real, but it's it's two scary things. Like she's being stalked and she is involuntarily put into a mental institution. And to combine those adds like ridiculously, and like I would absolutely hate that. I can't
That's
even
so
imagine.
scary.
Very scary. I think that's why I like this movie so much, because it's not just someone being stalked. It's not just being whatever. It's not, and that's the things. Those are the things that freak me out the most. Are the real things, the cults. If she was
Yeah.
being stalked by a cult member, that would be my worst nightmare. Probably. I don't know, but good movie.
I do
So
want I do want to point out a couple more things about stalking just because I feel weird about like consuming like horror in this kind of like you said it is very real, and so I feel weird talking about it if we don't address like the real life implications of it. So I want to talk about a couple of tactics and then some things to prevent it. So a couple of common stalking tactics, because that's another thing, is that some people don't even know that it's happening.
right,
Especially, and this is another conversation for another day, but a lot of the things that are romanticized in movies are stalking. Like it's not cute. You know what I mean?
right.
Like some of the stuff like from your favorite romantic comedies or romantic movies are not okay. But here we go. So unwanted phone calls. So they can include unwanted phone calls, unwanted emails, instant messages, text messages, voice messages, or social media messages, approaching a victim or showing up unwanted, such as at their home, workplace, or school, leaving strange or potentially threatening items for the victim to find, watching, following, or tracking a victim, and sneaking into a victim's home or car and doing things to scare the victim or to let them know that the perpetrator had been there. And a couple of things to prevent this. So everyone can work together to know, name, and stop stalking by helping others define and recognize stalking behaviors. So this falls on the people that, like, if somebody's telling you that this stuff is happening and they don't recognize it, that you need to be the one to tell them, like, hey, this is not okay.
All right.
Mobilizing men and boys as allies in prevention efforts, because like we said, men do also experience this, but it is disproportionately affecting women in higher rates. So they have to, like, y'all gotta help women out and help protect them. And then creating and supporting safe environments within relationships, schools, and communities through programs and policies that promote healthy relationships. So by you just having, like, if you are in a relationship, or even if you have a friendship, just being a good friend and being able to show people what it is like to have a healthy relationship is preventing
Right.
stalking. And one thing I've learned, because I feel like I talk about this too much, but I was an RA in college, and one thing that we are taught how to deal with a bunch of things, but we're also taught how to deal with stalking. And one of the things we always tell residents is, if you think you're experiencing it, or if you think it could turn into it, you have to save every single thing. So if you get text from somebody, um if like unwanted thing, like if they are sending you emails, if they're leaving stuff at your home, you have to save all of it, because when it comes to it and you have to like contact authorities, if you don't, the thing that fucking sucks is that they're not going to take you at your word at the most like for the most part, so you have to have evidence.
Right.
So
That
keeping,
sucks.
and also just having notes. Like, I was watching a video of this woman that was being stalked, and she started to take really detailed notes, like with times, with like describing things of everything that happened. So if you have detailed notes, and if you have like if you just keep records of everything, then it helps you out a lot. And just to have like protective things like
All right.
pepper spray, and depending on where you live, you can have like defensive keychains. Some of them are outlawed in some places. I think in Texas you can have them now. But yeah, sorry, I went on a little rant, but
Now the movie covers some stuff too. We'll get into it later, but
yeah. All right, so she goes, and I guess after she searches this, she finds a counselor to go to. So she goes to a session. She doesn't go to a group therapist, but or a group session, but she goes to somebody. And after this session, she's like talking about her stalker, talking about, like, if you've been to a psych eval, basically the stuff that they ask you, like how you've been feeling. And then the common thing that they ask you too, is like if you feel like you're going to harm yourself or others. And so
Mhm.
that wasn't like a outlandish question to ask. And the way she answered it also wasn't outlandish. Like, I think she said, she didn't outright say no. I think she said like, will I feel down sometimes, or something like that. Um After this is the crazy part. So she goes to the receptionist, and basically is like when you're trying to, after you're done with your appointment and you want to go and schedule another one, and the lady's like, sit down, and she's like rude from the very beginning. The receptionist. And she's like Sawyer's like ready to go back to work, so she's like in her like work clothes, and is like, I want to go. But she
Mhm.
tells her to just go sit down, and she'll let her know what's gonna happen after that. Um, and she gets annoyed. I don't know why she just doesn't leave. I mean, I guess I kind of understand it. To a certain point, you want to be polite. And then a nurse comes into the waiting room and gets her and tells her to come with him. This is my first red flag. If I left the facility, I'm not going back in.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so the nurse leads her through like a winding hallway, and it's very disorienting. Like, I have no idea where she is at this point in the hospital. Um, ta, ta, ta. And then she gets into one of the doctor's offices. She sits there, and then another nurse comes in, and, or no, this same nurse goes through her stuff. Like, he takes her purse, and he puts some stuff in a plastic bag. And at this point, I mean, I understand. I'm trying to put myself in her position, but I don't understand how she's not like, hey, why are you putting my stuff into a plastic bag? I need to
Right.
leave. Like,
Well,
I
he's kind of
didn't
hiding it
understand that.
from her, like the way his
That's
body's
true.
positioned. The nurse is kind of hiding it, but I don't know. I don't have a purse, so I don't keep my phone in. It's like everything I have on me is in my pocket, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
let them get the chance to steal anything from me.
Um, sorry. Okay. So I would just be, everything is so weird at this point. Like, another nurse comes in and tells her to take her clothes off. I would be
Yeah.
terrified. And she like keeps doing what they say, which I also understand, because I think I would be the same way. I don't know about the clothes thing though. I would think I would stop it there, but I don't know. Who knows? And she tries to leave, and I think when she tries to leave, it's like locked. Ugh, like my fight or flight would kick in so fast. Um,
Right? I would deck that lady in the face.
but apparently, so I think this is when she learns that the paper she signed, I think she signed something whenever she went to the receptionist area, or no, she signed it after her session, and it said, or the nurse tells her that the paper she signed means that she basically signed it so that she could be held for 24 hours.
Wow.
And I really love the way at this point that she's talking to the nurse, where she's trying to be like, um, she's telling her, like, okay, so that was my fault. I understand. And then like when she tells her, or when she's like, oh, can I get a call? And she's like, yeah, like, are you asking for your call right now? And she's like, oh, it's like you could read my mind. The way she's trying to be so nice to this lady. And then she gets her call and she tries to call the cops. I don't know why she did that. But yeah, and the nurse was like, she's like, well, the cops are going to be here at any moment. So, and then the nurse is like, you know how many times I get calls from this place? They're not going to come get you.
Nice try.
And at this point, I wanted to have faith in our systems where I was like, this can't really happen, right? But no, it does. I'm going to have a story. I don't really want to read all of it because I feel like it would do it some injustice to just read it like a cliff notes kind of thing. So I will post it. Hopefully I'll remember. I'll post the full article if you want to read it in our Discord. But this happened to somebody else. Not the stalker part, thank God, but basically the I guess like a kind of summary of it to get you to want to read it is that this guy, I think he's working right now. It's a Vice article. I don't know if he works at Vice, but he was a journalist, and he was depressed, and he did have like suicidal thoughts, and so he called a helpline. And the people on the helpline were starting to get like really freaked out because he was, obviously it's kind of, you would think they'd be trained, but they were freaking out because he was having suicidal ideation. And so instead of, I mean, I guess they were trying to help him, but they called the cops to like come to his apartment, but he was trying to tell them like, no, like I do want help, but I don't want the cops to come right now. And so basically the cops come and take him, and it spirals into him being, I think he was there because he was there like maybe from like the weekend, but there was a holiday on Monday, so he didn't get out till Tuesday.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he just kept telling them, like, he was pissed at the office or at the doctor's office where he was like, hey, like I understand that like what I told y'all, but like I will like just give me a doctor to go to on Monday or on Tuesday and I'll go. Like I don't need to be admitted right now. And they're like, no, we need
Right.
to admit you. And I don't know. I understand. It sucks to read that and to see this movie and see what happens, and you're like, yeah, but our system can't be that fucked up. But like it is, where people are trying to help, but they are doing way more harm. But yeah, so that's just a scary little real life story. I think he's fine at the end of it, and there's also like other craziness where he got a bill for at the end, like when he got back he got a bill for it, and he was like, you kept me there when I didn't want to be there.
That's
like why
terrible.
are you billing me for it?
I would, I mean, I don't know what I'd do in that situation, but I feel like I would lose my shit.
Yeah. And it also, I think he brought up in his article the whole thing about that Nate J. Farrow's character mentions, where he's like, your insurance is not going to want to pay for this. So if they know that you're trying to get out and they hear that, like if they call and they figure out that you don't want to be in there, then they don't want to pay. So they're going to like stop paying and the hospital has to release you. That same thing happened to him, where they were
Gosh.
like, yeah, we're closed on Monday, but like I think one of the workers told him like they're not going to want to pay. Like if they know you want to get out, they're not going to want to pay for you. So they'll try their hardest. They'll call, I think he said they'll call every single day until you get out because they do not want to pay for you to be there.
Wow.
It's all fucked. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, but she's not having a great time. We're back to Sawyer. She's having the worst time. Other patients are harassing her. Some guy fondled her breast. She saw her stalker. It wasn't, at this point, it wasn't him. It was the nurse from the beginning, and she thought it was him, and so she, like, attacked him. Well, they say attacked, but she hit him. I mean, I get it, but, like, they made it seem like she, like, mauled him or something.
Just give him a good punch.
And she was, like, frazzled. I don't know. Like, some guy just assaulted her, but nobody, like, like she said, nobody did anything about what happened to her. And then the doctor the next day wouldn't let her go. Because at first she was supposed to be held for 24 hours, but he was like, I think we need to hold you longer. And she was like, why? And a fun fact about this next scene, so they kind of show her just like not trying to be involved in anything. And Jay Farrow's character, Nate, was holding like a group session or something. I don't know exactly what he was doing because it seemed like he's a patient there. So like, what is he doing? Group therapy? Like,
I think one of the workers was supposed to do it, but she didn't care whatsoever. She was just on her phone.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. But a fun fact about this scene is if you look at the TV in the background, one of Steven Soderbergh, which is the director of this film, his film Full Frontal is playing on the TV.
I love those little Easter eggs, little things.
I've never seen that movie though, so I wouldn't have known that if I didn't read this. So, little fun fact. It also reminds me, it's kind of funny because it reminds me of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They have like tons of movies, like sequels after the first one. I think it's that. And then there was like a recent one that came out maybe 5 years ago, and it was really stupid. But I think it had Trey Songz in it. I think it was him.
Why?
It had like some musician in it, and there was a scene where they were playing one of his songs in the background. And that's what reminds me of this. Oh, what a mess. I think it was more than 5 years ago. I don't remember when it was, but yeah. And so she becomes friendly with Nate, and he is just giving her tips on how to survive the place. Like he's basically telling her like, hey, well, because she's given herself a really, she's made a name for herself at this point because she's keeps attacking people. And he's like, hey, you need to chill out and lay low. And she can't really take that advice. She tries, but she can't take it because in the next scene, she goes to take her medication, as you do, and her stalker is the one that's giving the medication out. And
I don't know. Well, she loses her freaking mind, obviously, because it's her stalker. She's like, it's not who he says he is. He's like, you need to go to jail. Like, I have a restraining order, all this stuff. And she's like going hysterical. He's just like, my name is Greg.
Yeah, and she's like, no, it's not Strine. I love she calls him Strine. It's so funny. Also, fun fact. Well, do you know? So the actor's name is Joshua Leonard. Do you recognize him from anything?
No.
So he is in the Blair Witch Project.
Wow.
He's one of the guys. I think he's the one that gets lost first.
That's why he's so creepy.
Yeah. That's
funny.
He's in a lot of other stuff, but that's like the main thing for me, at least. I mean, for Spooky October, we have to mention it. Yeah, and like part of me too, I had to keep reminding myself because I was like I wanted her to keep doing that, like playing, you know, the thing that she did with the nurse at the beginning, like being like, oh, like you read my mind, you know, like that kind of persona. I wanted her to keep that, but like with somebody that has PTSD, that was probably something she could not control, or it's definitely something she could not control. Because to her, it's like, yeah, this is obviously this guy. How does nobody else see this? And I think it was funny though, the way that this actor like acted, like the way he did it, where he was like, I'm just doing my job. In the beginning, he was really funny.
It was.
So since this was your first time watching, I did want to ask, what did you think at this point?
I was so upset. Obviously she's telling. Oh, I mean,
Did you
I thought she was telling the truth.
Okay.
I believed her. I was like,
well, okay. I feel like that's two different questions, though. You could believe that she believes it's real, but did you think her stalker was actually there?
I thought, okay, at this point, at the first time, I thought it wasn't. But then he shows her an envelope with her mom's address.
Oh.
And that's when I'm like, all right, she needs to like fight this. She needs to like beat the hell out of someone.
If you notice, though, the way that they frame it can still be called into suspicion. Her accusing this guy. Because the way they frame it is like he's giving her medicine and she looks down and we don't see his full body showing her the address. We just see his hands holding it. Mm-hmm. So the way they frame it is kind of smart because if you look back on it, you're like, yeah, but like, did she, like, was that real?
It's just oddly specific.
Yeah.
Like, why not a picture of her mom? Like, why some of her mom's mail?
The point of showing the mail is that he wanted to show her that he had been to her house. Because if you just show a picture, you could have got that online.
I guess.
He wanted a piece of mail so that he could show her. He had to have gone to her house to get it.
I don't know. She should have taken. She should have taken it at the very least. So.
Yeah, like what is he going to do? Keep holding it? But yeah, and at this point, so they all the patients are sleeping like in a common area, which doesn't seem like a great idea, but I don't know if that's like a real thing or not. But Nate at this point is like, sorry, he's like always talking into his blanket, and it kind of like fits the vibe where you think he's just talking to himself, but then we see that he's talking into a phone. And she, like, Sawyer sees this, and so she gets him to like, she gets him to give her the phone so that she can call her mom. Right. And she finally tells her mom, like, what's happening. Because we also, I don't know if we know at this point, but her mom doesn't even know about the stalker at all.
Right.
So she's telling her not only, like, hey, I'm in a psych ward, also, my stalker's here. I can't imagine getting that call.
For a mother.
I know. And then her mom shows up and she is like yelling at the receptionist. And I mean, I think the mom is too calm.
Yeah, I'd be furious.
I would have not we'll get into it. But so she gets to, wait, what? Oh yeah. She gets to visit her because she is like, she talks to the receptionist and then she talks to some intake lady and she's like, and the lady's like, this is the best place for her. I don't know. It just felt like she relented so easily. Like she was just like, yeah. I mean, I know at the end where she was like, oh, I'm going to come back with police and lawyers and all that. But I don't know how you don't yell at this lady or be like, maybe I just don't know the law. But like, how can you not check your daughter out of a psych ward? Like, how is that not allowed? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, they kind of go into it with like she calls a lawyer and she goes to the
but
police officers.
Doesn't make any sense.
The police officers in this, they sucked because they didn't do anything. But
also, so she gets to visit her. She's like, well, can I at least see her? And they bring Sawyer out into the lobby from the beginning. And I don't know how she doesn't just like, what is stopping her from just walking out of there? There was no armed security.
I thought about that too. I said,
what are they going to do? Left. Like, what are they going to do? They're going to
don't come back, please.
That's just like, I just don't get it. Maybe I just am not like, I'm ignorant of the laws. Well, that's pretty clear. But like, I just don't get that. Like, if I went to a psych ward, if you called me and I went there and they were like, hey, you can visit him in the lobby. we're getting the fuck out of there. Like, I just don't understand how you do, like, how you don't at least try.
Right? They're all
What are
talking
they gonna
about it. It's just
do?
like, I'm gonna come back. It's
I'm
gonna
gonna come
be.
back and get like, let's just leave now. The door's right there. Ugh, I don't know. Maybe she just didn't want it to make it worse for her, but like, I don't get it. And then Strine is starting to just like fuck with her now. And this is kind of where we start to see that, like, without a doubt, well, maybe not, but to me, without a doubt, he's real and he's actually a stalker because we see him slip a pill into her little cup and she starts to like, I forgot what he gave her, but she starts to freak the fuck out. Um, and then after this, he goes, well, that you can kind of explain away and be like, well, maybe that's in her mind. But then her mom is at a hotel room trying to figure out what to do. And he shows up as like, he says he's like maintenance or something. Um, and then we go back to Sawyer. She's talking to Nate about the story of meeting Strine. And she wanted to be a med student, but I think she realized she didn't want to do that anymore. But she still wanted to help somehow. So she volunteered at a hospice. And when she was at the hospice, she was reading to his dad. And and I wanted to know too, in the first shot of like, it's like a weird shot of like in an empty room and she's reading to him in an empty room and Strine is just like staring at her. And she's wearing blue. So we can already tell it's the guy. His voice is in the beginning. But I don't think I realized that from the first time watching it, that in this scene she was wearing a blue sweater. And then she said that like after the dad died, they have a weird scene at his funeral where he's like, he would want us to be together. Oh. I'm pretty sure he didn't. But and then they show him, well, they don't show it, but he basically breaks into her apartment and then he sends her flowers and then texted her all the time, broke into her house, left her address. Like he just did weird shit. All the stuff that we're talking about and the like, what stalkers do is what he did. And then Matt Damon shows up.
Yo, I was like, I heard the voice. I was like, what? There's no way.
I totally forgot he was in this movie.
He was a cop giving her advice and telling her what to do. Like it was tons of stuff. Yeah. That she needed to consider, all because some asshole is stalking her.
I know, that sucks. Like, I think he said, like, delete all of your stuff, like social media. Like,
he was like, do you have any social medias? She's like, yeah, Facebook. He's like, all right.
Not anymore.
She said, but it's private, so it's okay. He was like, no, delete it. He went into his reason why, but yeah, that's just funny.
I forgot. I should have wrote down all the stuff he told her, but so sad. And then back to the hospital. So Strine, there's a really creepy scene of her where Sawyer's talking to Nate and then Strine is like in the window just staring at them. Mm-hmm. He's so creepy. And so he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that Nate is getting close to her. So he decides to beat him up and torture him in the basement.
Naturally, as a stalker does.
And then Sawyer finds Nate's phone in her bed and she opens it and it has a picture of Nate sent to her. And she tries to show, this is a weird scene too, because she tries to show the people, like the other like nurses, but they don't look at it because I guess they just like take the phone away because she's yelling at them and running at them. It's just a weird scene. How did he like, I would just wonder with Strine's mind, how did he see that was going to go? Like, what if they did look at the phone? What then?
Yeah, I don't know. Cause like, yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't even know. But he was like right there though.
Oh, that's true. But maybe that's like playing into the whole, maybe trying to make us, at this point, I think I have a problem with in this movie is at the beginning, it seems like they wanted us to question her sanity, but then at the end, they kind of give up on it.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted them to keep that mystery for longer. which
I
I don't know if that
guess.
would have worked out. That's just probably that doesn't. I don't think the movie's bad because of that, because that might just be a personal preference. But I kind of wish that would have happened.
I think it would have been too like gimmicky almost. Like, oh, she thought it was him, but it's not. And just that over and over again.
Yeah. Or even do it subtly. I think they did it, but at the beginning when they did it, it was really subtle and I really liked it. And
Yeah.
I felt like they could have kept doing that and not made it a gimmick. But I mean, who knows? Maybe not. And then Strine makes it seem like Nate overdosed, because I don't think we said this, but Nate told Sawyer that he was in there for drug
Opioid.
addiction. Yeah, for addiction. And then Sawyer, I put that she gets put in the psych ward. She's already in the psych ward. She gets put in solitary.
Solitary confinement.
And so now I put a note saying, like, now we know for sure, because he killed Nate, we know for sure that he's not that he's real and that he's a stalker. So at this point, what would you do?
Okay, I thought about this. I legitimately thought about this. Not that I saw your question, but I would start taking off those gym pads off of the walls.
But there's
Try
a
to find
camera.
something to fight. Huh?
There's a camera in there.
It doesn't even matter, honestly. It doesn't even matter.
See,
what are they going to do? Come in and then I can escape? Boom.
but mostly with Strine. So I mean, I think at this point, the nurses in this ward are like, you're the least of your problems. What would you do with Strine? The same thing?
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, you could use those pads as protection. Rather than being on the wall.
At this point, he wouldn't hurt her, though.
That's true, but she could use them as like leverage to like push him off. So she because obviously he's gonna come visit her because he put her there for a reason, to talk to her.
I wonder how dangerous it would have been. I mean, she kind of did this, but then like in a weird way. But I wonder how dangerous it would have been to play along. Like from the very like she kind of resisted when he first came into the like solitary area, but like I wonder if she would have been like, you know what, you're right, you did all these things for me, and that shows me like play into it. How fast I feel like it would have been to get her out of there.
That would also be a smart thing, because I mean, we learned later that he like what his plans are. And she could follow through with his plans and have better chance of escaping later than immediately. So maybe patience would have helped her out more. Because
I mean, at least I would have came up with something like, I mean, I probably wouldn't have, because this is a situation that I don't think I could have ever prepared for. But part of me was like, I feel like she should have said, hey, if you just take me right now, then people are going to know something's wrong. I need to have like time to, well, I think she did say that though. She was like, I need to go home. And he was like, I don't fit into that world.
Right.
Well, maybe David, then you don't belong in it.
well, also, like,
this movie should have been called The Audacity of Men.
The Audacity of Men. That's the subtitle. Also, I forgot to mention this. I don't know why she didn't just throw up all of the medicine regardless. I know for a fact I would not take medicine that people would hand me in a little cup. I mean, sure, they're nurses, but I'm not going to, if I'm being held there involuntarily, I'm throwing that shit up without a doubt into the pillowcase and anywhere. I'm not taking their drugs.
Yeah, but I feel like they have some sort of, I mean, somebody's tried that before.
Yeah, but no.
You can do like what the guy did in Misery. Have you seen Misery?
No, what did he do?
So, she like, Kathy Bates would like give him pills for, I think it's for like his pain, because she broke his fucking legs. But he would put it under his tongue, and when she left, he like made a hole in the mattress, and so he started to save them in his mattress. And then when she was gone, that was one of the ways that he tried to get out. That he crushed all of them up and put them in her drink. Like they were like celebrating, or I don't know. He kind of played along sometimes, and he put them in her drink so that she could like pass out.
Oh, damn.
So there you go. Got to play the long game, Anthony.
Yeah, I think that would have been her a good plan for her. Like, go through with his plan, eventually, like, buy yourself more time to get out.
Who knows if that's the safest option, though? I don't know.
That's true.
But anyway, so when she's in solitary, she does have this really satisfying moment of basically like telling him off, because I want to say that I would like have a calm and calculated idea of what I would do. But realistically, I would have done what she did and just went the fuck off on him and just called him a piece of shit, just like I would never love you, like all this stuff. She's basically just like berating him, which is amazing. I really love that scene.
He's just crying.
Yeah. And then after this, we see shots of, okay, so I was wrong in this area, but we see like a shot of somebody hiking or like running in the woods, and then we see like a body that's like was buried, and I thought it was the mother at this point. Yeah,
I thought so too.
I guess we'll get into it, but at this point, all we know is that there's somebody buried in the woods. And then little things just start happening to sort of break down the like illusion that Strine started to build. So after this is when I should have known from this, because after they found the body, they also found Nate's body, and it was like his body and then some other random man in the morgue. And so this is when I realized, the body that they found in the woods was not the mom. It was the guy that Strine was impersonating. The nurse.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought it was the mom and the prince, because he got the prince, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, Greg? Or whatever. I was like, oh, they found his prince on the body. But no, it was the real Greg.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But so they found that. I think. This is also when I think one of the nurses is like watching TV on her shift, and we also learned that Nate was not addicted to any drugs. He was an undercover journalist. I don't know if we find this now.
So at some point,
it's a little bit later, but I'll just talk about it now. But that's like one of the things that goes into the breaking down of the illusion, because another thing I didn't mention is that when Strine was trying to cover up Nate's death, he made it look like he overdosed. Oh, I said that, didn't I?
Yeah, you said that.
Okay, so then this is when Strine is telling Sawyer his plan, that they're gonna like live in a cabin or something. He's gonna take her. I think he said that he's like he set it up at this point to where he could like take her out of the facility or something. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, there was like, because she's in solitary. She's like in the basement, so he can escape with her. And she's like, well, what are we gonna do? He's like, oh, we're gonna renovate a diner. I don't know. He's clearly put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, but then she has her own plan, and so she starts to like,
I hate her plan.
Yeah. So she basically tells him, like, how do you know that you're going to love me? And how do you know that you're going to be able to, like, perform in the bedroom kind of thing? And she's like, well, the solution is you need to get Violet, which is a girl. I didn't mention her, but she's a girl that's also in the ward with all of them. And so he gets her and brings her to the basement. And then it was just basically a whole ploy for her to steal this knife that she like flashed her on the first day that she was there. And then she took the knife and stabbed him with it. And then, I don't know, this whole scene made me mad because Sawyer stabbed him and then ran out of the basement and just left Violet in there and closed the door, and then he killed Violet.
Man, that was brutal.
Why would she do that?
I don't
That really
know.
made me mad. Um, so she does manage to stab him, and she like tries running away, but then he obviously finds her. Oh, and then that's what I said. By the way, I was totally wrong about her mom being the body in the woods. Because whenever he first gets her and then puts her in the trunk of his car, she opens up the trash bag and it's her mom.
Yeah, that was rough because they show in one of the shots her mom's like cross necklace, and
Yeah.
she finds that and she just starts crying.
Ugh,
Ugh.
so scary. Um, and sorry, I jumped the gun. This is when we see that the news report of Nate, where he was a reporter, and he was specifically he was going undercover so he can like get evidence on the scam that they're trying to pull at the hospital. Oh, and I totally forgot about this, but whenever they found his body, one of the nurses found his notebooks that had he kept like a bunch of notes on everything that was happening.
Right.
And so all of this was just crumbling as soon as Strine was like taking Sawyer, and it just all was going to shit. And so the hospital, at this point, whenever Strine took Sawyer, the hospital also, um, the police were there and they were looking at that lady that her mom went to at the beginning. Um, they found a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of evidence of them. It's basically an insurance scam. Exactly what Sawyer said. She was like, it's just a scam. You need to get me out. But
Yeah.
yeah, they've been doing this. They've been holding people so that they can get um, the insurance money. Because I think the lawyer said that they can hold them without a court order for 7 days. And so they were
Uh,
planning to hold her for those 7 days. And I think, I'm assuming this was like day 5 or 6 or something. Like she was almost out. And all this shit happened. Yeah, so after this, we're back to Strine. And she gets out of the trunk and she starts running through the woods from the very beginning. Um, they have a struggle because he finds her. Oh no, he broke her leg or he broke her ankle or something, but that was before this. But basically, they start struggling and fighting, and she finally kills him and she stabs him in the eye, which is such a great move. I loved it.
what it?
Yeah,
Does she stab him with the cross?
I don't know. She stabbed him with something. I think that was the
And then
cross.
she slit his throat.
Yeah, so she kills him. Yeah. So after that, we cut to 6 months later. She's eating with one of her coworkers from the very beginning. And we learn that, like I said, she had a promotion, and because her friend's like, why are we eating in this shitty place if you have a promotion, you have an expense account? And while they're like having a great time at lunch, she looks over and she sees Strine eating with somebody else. And if you listen closely, you can hear him talking about, like, you hear, I guess, him talking about like a girl, or not a girl, but somebody he's in love with. Like, oh, I'm gonna, I think she's the one. Like, you kind of hear somebody like from the very beginning, the way that they're talking about this person that they love.
Mm-hmm.
She takes a knife. She like goes up to him, doesn't even say anything to her coworker. Takes a knife and goes up to the guy that she thinks is Strine, but then he turns around and it's not him. And she drops the knife and she leaves. Um, yeah, and I just felt really bad for her because even though we got this like great ending of her killing the bad guy and getting away, she still is never going to escape him because she's always going to see him in everything, everywhere that she goes.
I thought she was gonna like
Kill the guy.
I thought she was gonna stab the guy.
Nope.
But wow. And then the way the movie ends, she like leaves the
I don't
restaurant
like
and she
it.
turns back. I don't like it either. And it's like a
Like a freeze
it's
frame.
it's a freeze frame, but it reminds me of the like Bigfoot like found footage.
Yeah.
She's like looking back and she's like
Yeah.
and the cheesy music plays.
Yeah, God, I have a note about this, but the one thing I really, so this movie, I mean, I think it just wasn't like to my liking, but I don't think it's a bad movie. The one thing I do think is bad and I don't like at all is the music. I hate it. It makes
Yeah,
me feel
some of
so
it
cheap.
was. Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Feels like a Lifetime movie music. But or yeah, that's exactly what it feels like to me.
Hmm.
But overall, like for the whole like I mean, plot wise, I like it. Like you said, I think they did a good job of using different scary factors and putting them into a cohesive like movie.
All right.
And I don't mind the coincidence of everything. You know, the fact that it was a hospital that did that kind of scam. That Nate wasn't like he was undercover at the same time that she had a stalker there. You know, I don't really mind that. I didn't think it was too much of a coincidence, and I really liked it. I do. I will stick with my note of I wish they would have made us question it more, and I wish everything would have come together a little bit closer at the end. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
and there were some things that weren't clear, like the whole body thing, like the fact that I thought the mom was the person in the woods, and it took like a lot of brain power to figure out. I mean, unless that we're just dumb, but I just thought that wasn't super clear.
Yeah. Maybe just because he didn't show him killing the guy. Whatever.
They could have made it a little bit more clear, though. It was like
I
super
like the movie.
mysterious. But for the cinematography, I want to talk about that a little bit because, like we said, this was made with an iPhone. I thought it was good. I liked it.
It's fantastic. I just kept on thinking like, how did they do this? Because it just looks so nice.
It also did a good job of because the frames felt so tight to me because it's with a
Yeah.
phone, so it can't be like a widescreen. But it did a good job of making everything feel really cramped. I also liked the graininess of it. Um, yeah, I wish it would have had better music. I feel like it would have elevated it so much more if it had better music and a better ending.
Better freeze frame.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that ending at all. Even like that whole 6 month scene. I feel like they could have done something better. But I
Maybe.
don't know.
Good movie.
All right, a couple of fun facts. So the film was shot in just 10 days, which is crazy.
Ooh.
All the hospital scenes were filmed in Pomona, New York at Summit Park Hospital that recently closed. And one of the technical things that I kind of mentioned, like the dolly shots, to get the dolly shots in the film, Steven Soderbergh would hold the iPhone on a DJI gimbal while sitting on a wheelchair, and a crew member pushed him around.
Mad respect.
I think that's hilarious. I love that.
That's really cool. I like this movie. I like movies like this where it's not necessarily I don't know. I think it's a really good idea because like I said, it brings two real scary things and mashes them together. But it does it on an iPhone. So technically we could have made this movie. We
Yeah,
wouldn't have
sure.
the like what was the budget?
Yeah,
like
let me
1.4
call
million.
Jay Farrow real quick, see if he wants to make a movie with us.
And Matt Damon.
Oh my god, Matt Damon. Um I think I really like well, I love the thing that Steven Soderbergh does with his like some of his movies is bringing in like those two elements are scary and it's like it makes a good story, but they're also super real. Like stalking is a real like I've mentioned with those stats is it's something that real that's happening to a lot of people, and also this scam that is also real and happening to people.
All
Um,
right.
because like the thing I can think of, and I had to look up because I was like, did he make this? But he made Contagion. So he's just good at doing that kind of stuff where he's like bringing awareness to stuff. Um, yeah, and let's listen to him because he knew. uh,
He
sad.
knew.
He knew. A little plug for Contagion. I don't know if you want to watch it because we're fucking living in it right now.
I've heard it's like scary to watch because
Oh,
it's
you
like
haven't seen it?
Not in a long time.
It's fucking eerie. I watched it at the very beginning of everything, and it's, yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, the virus in that one, this one's bad, obviously. That one is a little bit worse, I think. But yeah, it's very eerie to watch that, especially the stuff that, like, I wouldn't have known what fucking antibodies were when I first watched Contagion, but now I'm like, what? Say more. But just all the terms that they use, it's just scary. But I don't know if I'd recommend watching it, but it's interesting. Yeah. Final thoughts. I thought it was good. I could have used a little bit more and different things, and you really liked it, huh?
Yeah.
There you
What are we
go.
watching next time?
Okay. I am very excited about my pick because I didn't realize that this movie is available on a streaming service. It hasn't been since I was in college. So I'm super excited to watch it. And I think it's a movie that you've never seen. So we're gonna watch Good Night Mommy.
Good Night Mommy?
Yes.
What a funny name. I've never heard of this.
What if that's not what it's called? No, I'm pretty sure. Yes, let me look it up real quick. It's on Hulu. And I think it's from the same people that made The Lodge.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Good Night Mommy. So you've never seen it?
No, never.
All right, so my advice, don't read anything about this movie. Go in blind. I know you usually do, but kind of, I guess, to our viewers or listeners, go in blind, just watch it, and then we'll discuss. I think it's definitely in a different language. So apologies for that. Well, not really. Fucking read. But but yeah, I'm excited for our listening numbers to go down. That's okay. No, but I'm introducing y'all to great movies. Well, and I also I knew I needed to do something good because at least the people that give us feedback, aka our parents, did not like Lake Mungo, my last pick. So I wanted to pick something that I think, I didn't realize that Lake Mungo could be divisive. I thought it was just generally a good movie, but I guess fuck me, I don't know. But I think this one, I think they'll really like it. So we'll see. This is the podcast for our parents. I just try to get them to like a movie. No, I think you'll like it. I think people that listen and watch it, if you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. It's very good.
Ooh, spicy. But
yeah, I won't say anything. We'll discuss. Do not watch Overlord, for the love of God. Watch.
I've already done it.
Good Night, Mommy.
But do follow us on Instagram at Brother Sister Show and Twitter at Bro Sis Show. Thank you guys for listening. Bye.
Bye.